Welcome back to episode 50. Little milestone episode right after the World Series. Obviously, the Astros are World Series champions. Sorry, Matt. But I'm Bobby with Melo, Matt, and Kyle. We got a full house today. We're going to give a little World Series recap and talk about some little moves that have been made so far in the offseason. Uh, as we're barely into the offseason. A couple things have been talked about, but majority of the episode we're going to be talking about the World Series. So yeah, Matt, how did I know obviously it sucked, but Phillies had a hell of a run.
They did. And I mean, coming in, playing with no expectations is probably one of the best things in the world because you can't be super disappointed when you get knocked out. I mean, they were supposed to lose against the Cardinals, they were supposed to lose against the Braves, and they were supposed to lose against I don't know. They might have actually been favored against the Padres. That was a toss up. And then they were definitely supposed to lose against the Astros. So when there's no expectations, I mean, it's tough to be mad at the team. I mean, yeah, you're disappointed because that sucks to get knocked out of the World Series, but we're still National League champs. Um, and that's something that you can carry on. I mean, if we're diving right into everything that happened, I mean, we might as well. Phillies offense, it was there for the first two games. Um, after that, after that Framber start and then the no hitter, Phillies offense basically non-existent. And I mean, when you rely so much on the home run ball, which they sort of do, 7-0 in the second game, and all of those runs were from home runs, and just Framber's awesome performance, and then obviously getting the combined no hitter, which sure you guys will say it was great to see. I didn't care to see it, but it was kind of embarrassing to get no hit in the World Series. You're supposed to be best of the National League, and you get no hit at all. But what are you gonna do about it? And then when Chas McCormick made that catch in the ninth inning, that really, I won't lie to you guys. I said, all right, this series is over now. I did
Damn.
not have much faith. The offense couldn't put any runs on the board, so
Yeah,
I have more thoughts, but I want to hear what you guys have to say too. So
yeah. Melo, Kyle, got anything?
I mean, there's not much, that Matt already hasn't said. I thought for sure that the Phillies would put up a fight against the Astros just because of just because of how hot they were. I mean, they rode this thing into October and just like all gas the entire way. And like Chas McCormick, that catch that's kind of like the same thought I had. My biggest thing was like Philly had to go back to Houston, like, at least winning one of those games. I thought they had to have the lead or tie up the series, whatever. But trying to win two back to back in Houston, it's almost impossible.
Melo, got anything?
I mean, kudos to the Astros. I know that kind of sucks to say for everybody here, but listen, they were the best team. They showed it all throughout the regular season, and they definitely showed it in the postseason. Their depth definitely showed. Just having that experience with Verlander, with Dusty Baker, with Altuve, Bregman, it really showed. Um, it was a good run for the Phillies, but I mean, listen, just Houston won, and there's nothing you can say or do. There's nothing I can say about it.
Yeah, I
Better,
mean,
I
go. What were you saying?
no, I just the better team won.
Yeah. And I mean, we've said this off camera, on camera. I think we've all said it. That the Phillies had to play their A game the entire series. And then, like Matt said, after game two, that kind of went away. That fire, it, I don't want to say they burnt out, but that hot streak kind of burnt out, I guess. And if they want to win against the Houston Astros, especially in Houston, they had to play basically perfect baseball, and they didn't do that. So that's what happened. But
And just to like the whole underdog mentality, and they finished third in their division, squeaked into the playoffs last seed. Like I said, weren't supposed to win any of the series before, really. And like we said, everybody pretty much admitted that the Astros were the better team going into it. And if I wasn't a Phillies fan, I would have 100% said the Astros are going to win in probably 5 games or 6 games. So, but being a Phillies fan, you got to have some faith. And anyway, if the Phillies would have won, guess what? The power rankings would have came out for next season, and the Phillies wouldn't have even been top 10. Like, I honestly would be surprised, wouldn't have been surprised if they weren't in the top 10, just because they weren't supposed to be there, and nobody's going to say that that good of a team anyway. So really, like Melo said, the better team won. It shouldn't have surprised anybody, but I mean, maybe it surprised people that the Phillies couldn't hit in the second half of the series, but
yeah.
I don't
But
know.
then to go up against that Houston pitching too, they were unbelievable. That the bullpen, I wish I had the stat up, but they had like one of the best bull. Their bullpen was on one of the best runs in World Series history, or something crazy like that. But to, I know none of us want to do this, but to praise the Astros a little bit, like to really think about what has happened to this team the past few years. Obviously, all the cheating stuff, whatever. I also don't want to hear about that anymore because they've proved themselves that this team can win, and whatever, it's over. I've been over it and I don't really care about it anymore. But like they've lost guys like Correa, Garrett Cole, George Springer. Dallas Keuchel was good at one when back when he was like in his prime. But then if any team loses players like that, that's basically like a rebuild. But then they replace those guys with Yordan Alvarez, Jeremy Pena, who won ALCS MVP, World Series MVP, Gold Glove in his rookie year, Kyle Tucker, Christian Javier, Framber Valdez. All of those guys, with the exception of Valdez, they're all 25 years old, which is insane. Like, I don't know when they're not going to be good anymore. Like, they have a really, really, really bright future. And it's scary.
Exactly. And they're probably the best, if not the second best run organization in Major League Baseball. Second or third. They're top 3. Braves, I would put up there. Astros. I would probably put the Dodgers up there. I mean, Melo might not agree just because he has super high expectations.
State of the Union's coming. So
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still jealous. I mean, he's not satisfied with making the playoffs every year. I'm happy to make the playoffs. So, but yeah, they're going to be around for as the foreseeable future, and
At least the next decade, really.
Yeah, if you think about it, I mean, some of the players like your prime might not even be. They might not even hit their prime yet. Like that could be 28. So as long as they stay healthy, it's gonna be insane.
Scary.
Glad I'm not in the American League.
And it was more impressive too what the Astros did this series because they were down 2-1 in this series, going into a hostile place like Philadelphia, where they had not lost a game all postseason. I know we'll touch on a little bit later. That's why I think the combined no-hitter is a lot more impressive, just because of the circumstances that they were going into. And for them to win 2 games in that hostile environment, I mean, that's your series right there. And if you would have told me that the way the Phillies were hitting all postseason, if you would have told me after game 3, after what they did to McCullers, that they will go, their offense would go completely silent for the next 3 games, I would have said you're crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy how baseball works like that. Because, I mean, I guess we could dive into the no-hitter. Sorry, Matt. I know you don't want to talk about this, but but like we had said, they set the record for, or they tied the record for most home runs in a World Series game in Game 3, I'm pretty sure, with 5. And then the next night they don't get a single hit. So it's just like it's such a freak thing that baseball is so unpredictable that literally anything can happen. Game 3, the Phillies looked unstoppable. Like they were dominant Game 3. And then literally the next day they come out and they couldn't get a single hit. It was just surreal. It's baseball.
And I mean, I have to ask the question in terms of how legitimate is still a combined no hitter compared to a one pitcher taking on the gauntlet himself. In my opinion, and this is my opinion, I'm not gonna try and debate you guys on it. It's just the way I feel, and you guys are allowed to feel other way. To me, it's not quite as impressive because it's kind of just the standard is set in one pitcher not allowing a whole team to get a hit. And when you're going to your bullpen and there's guys with fresh arms, and it's just not as impressive to me. Now, sure, in the World Series, it's supposed to be the best two teams, so that makes it even more impressive. But I don't know. I need to hear each of you guys.
Kyle, got anything?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this, Matt. I definitely think a solo no hitter is by far more impressive. I'm not taking away anything from a combined no hitter because it's yet again still impressive. And as you said, like in the World Series, I mean, it's almost unheard of. It's only happened twice. Um, this is actually the first combined no hitter in MLB history in the World Series. So it's like it is very impressive. And shout out to all those pitchers who were pitching for Houston in that game. But it's like, I agree. Solo's a lot more impressive in my eyes.
Melo.
I mean, yeah, the solo no hitter is still impressive, but for me, the combine is just up there because you have guys coming out of the bullpen that they have to. It's different. You have to step into a whole different situation. Hey, my starter just gave me 5 or 6 innings of no hit ball, and now I have to come in here and pick up right where he left off. That's not easy. Dodgers had that at the beginning of the season when Kershaw went 7 perfect innings. And then the 8th inning, I don't remember who they brought in, but very first batter gave up a base hit and that was it. So for me, that's more impressive than just like I said, the circumstances. Being down 2-1, getting their asses kicked the night before, playing in a city like Philadelphia. For me, it's right up there for me.
Yeah, I just think the single no hitter is obviously like sexier because just a one pitcher doing the no hitter. But kind of like Melo said, every pitcher that comes into the game has to be. It wasn't a perfect game, but they need to essentially be perfect coming in. Like they can't make any mistakes either. So, like for what was it, 5 pitchers or 4 pitchers? Do you remember?
I
Four?
think it
Was
What-
it four?
Whatever it was, but 4 pitchers have to be on their base essentially perfect in the game. And I feel like you could almost argue that that's almost as impressive that all 4 of those guys were on their A game at once. I don't know. Like I do think that I obviously am a bigger fan of the solo no hitter, but thinking about it that way, that every pitcher that comes into the game has to be on their A game and doesn't allow a hit or can allow a hit. I feel like that's very impressive too.
And when it comes to the bullpen, we throw the term out high leverage situation. When it's something like that's going on, immediately it's high leverage. To me, it's a high leverage situation when you got to come in and pick up your starter and try to not give up a hit.
Yeah. And real quick, like I know we were talking about it as it was going on, but as I was watching it, obviously I wanted the Phillies to break it because I wanted the Phillies to win the World Series. And I was kind of pissed, like, really, they can't get a hit. Come on, just get a hit this inning, whatever. But then the next day, I woke up and I realized I was like, I watched that game from start to finish and didn't appreciate anything that went on because that's the second time in World Series history that ever happened, and I didn't appreciate a single second of it because I was like rooting for it to get ruined. And I was like, I was watching history the entire time, and I like it's pretty cool that I was watching every single second. but I didn't think about it that way until the next day reflecting on it. And I was like, damn, I didn't really appreciate that. I was really watching history, like 2 times in baseball history that's ever happened, and I witnessed it. And I was rooting for it to get ruined. And obviously I wanted the Phillies to win, but
We weren't even alive the last time
yeah,
it happened.
yeah,
Listen, my parents weren't even here
yeah,
yet when that
no,
happened.
yeah,
Don't do the math.
I kind of feel the same way as Schwarber did. I'm sure you guys all heard what he said after the game. Basically, he said he didn't care, and I agree with him because I don't really care, because if the Phillies got 1 hit, it's just as bad as if they got no hits, in my opinion. Like, sure, it wouldn't be quite as big of a storyline because not all the casual baseball fans would be fanboying over it if the Phillies got 1 hit as compared to no hits. So it wouldn't quite make all the same headlines. But guess what? Your offense is doing just as bad. There was multiple times like Gene Segura hit it was a fly ball into right field, but it was close, or a laser, whatever it was. But I thought it was going to drop in for a hit. And if it did, guess what? The Phillies offense still sucked no matter what, even if they got 1 hit instead of no hits. To me, that wasn't a big deal. It was just kind of the overall, the Phillies offense sucked in the series. So
right,
second half of the series.
right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was just like you said. If they got 1 hit, they still would have lost the game, and they still would have tied the series, right? 2-2, because that was game
Yep.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. It was just interesting to think about it. Like, wow, I witnessed history. Like, and I don't know if that's really ever going to happen again in our lifetimes. But what else do we want to talk about this series?
The
Dusty?
Phillies.
Oh,
Well, I'll go
okay.
back to the
Okay,
Phillies
go,
one
go,
more
go.
time. Aaron Nola. I mean, this is kind of what it's been like in the regular season. At least in the first probably like 3/4 of the season, it was kind of good start, bad start, good start, bad start, bad start, good start. And that's kind of what we got here. 2 bad starts from him. And that's kind of what the Phillies were counting on. Like, the whole
Yeah.
mantra was Phillies really good offense, and then Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler really good starting pitching. So when one of those 2 guys doesn't do great, and Wheeler didn't do great, too great the other time either. I mean, the last game he pitched great, but the first time he pitched in the series was not fantastic. And you can't rely too much on Ranger Suarez. He did good, but not fantastic. And Noah Syndergaard, I love the guy. It's just when your 4th guy out of the rotation is not throwing no hitters like the Astros with blanking on his name right now, Christian Javier. I mean, that's a huge weapon there. Your guy who's you're not necessarily counting on him to do great, and he just comes out and throws a no hitter. Part of a no hitter is insane, but
Okay, then let me ask you this question, Matt, because I thought about it last week during the game. Remember, game 3 got rained out, and that was supposed to be Monday. It got pushed to Tuesday, and then we just kept going. Did you like the fact that they pushed Syndergaard's start back to game 5, or would you have still liked him to go in game 3 the next day?
personally, I was expecting him to go next day. It caught me off guard that they switched it up there, but I don't know how much it really affected it. I guess the Phillies were trying to get like a better grip on the lead, getting another game ahead, and then hey, it doesn't hurt as much if we lose one after that. And obviously that sort of backfired. But I don't really think that it was like I know it affected the series, but I don't think you could say that really cost the Phillies the series in any sort of way, if that makes sense.
It does, and they ended up winning that game anyways. Where can we jump from here? Let's see. Trying to think. Okay, I guess we can get into it now. Bobby will get back here. He'll jump in. Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker finally did it. After so long and after being on the wrong side of so many crappy playoff losses, he finally gets his World Series. Yes, it's probably not with the team that we all wanted him to get it with, but still, I'm happy for Dusty Baker, and I just want to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. Dusty Baker is such like a well-respected player, manager, just all-around person in the game of baseball. And I don't think I could have said it better. I mean, I'm extremely happy for him. Another guy who I'm very, very happy for is Trey Mancini. Getting dealt to the Astros at the deadline, being so loyal to a franchise that has been at bottom feeders for the last however many years. Battling cancer, everything else, everything's he's overcome. It's a great story. It's the only two players I'm happy for. Rest of them can shove it right where the sun don't shine.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry. I have some strong feelings for the Astros. But yeah, happy for Dusty and happy for Trey for sure.
I mean, it's tough for me to be happy for the opposing team's manager, but like I understand it. Like this guy has been lifelong baseball guy, and he's been chasing this championship for his whole life. So it's great to see him get one. Obviously, sucks that it's against the Phillies, but what are you gonna do about it? I mean, yeah, it's great for him, and especially because the whole question kind of like after what was it after game 1 or 3, people were like, "Oh, Dusty, he's doing it again." He was it a minute? Was it bringing somebody in out of the bullpen, or was it not leaving his starters in?
I think it
There's
was leaving
something.
Verlander in too long. Or no, I
Leaving
think it was leaving
Verlander in
McCullers
too.
in. One of those.
Or
You
yeah,
could say both.
either one. Yeah, I think that the whole idea then was like, well, look at this. It's Dusty. He's throwing the series again. This guy can't manage in big time situations, whatever you want to say. And then he turns it around, and obviously Astros win the World Series. Yeah, it's great for him. Great for Mancini too. I mean, that guy, like Kyle said, sticking with the Orioles for so long and then getting traded. I mean, I'm not sure people thought he was going to get traded, but he ended up getting dealt to the Astros, and he really struggled in the postseason too, which was something.
Yeah.
Like the Astros didn't have many options for DH. It seemed like, which really kind of hindered their team. But yeah, great story for him. Love that he got a ring finally.
Yeah, and Mancini made probably one of the best plays of the series.
Yeah,
Taking a run, possibly 2 runs away from Kyle Schwarber because, and I heard this, so I'm not taking credit for this. I heard this with Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe, but the reason why Mancini was even in that position to make that play is because he was holding a runner on at first. If he's playing back like he usually is, that probably gets by him. Game's tied, and who knows if they even take the lead. So he made one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best plays of the series. And then Dusty Baker, did you guys see that video of like before the final out? He wasn't even looking. He was just jotting down on his score sheet. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was funny. And then he just gets completely trampled by everybody. But that was cool to see.
probably choked on his toothpick that he had in.
Yeah.
And all the guys running over him. But yeah, I think great for both of them overall, and like you said, great play by Mancini. And he was only in because Gurriel got injured, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Gurriel wouldn't have gotten that pickle and got injured, I don't know. I guess Gurriel is a pretty good defensive first baseman, I think. So he's not Gold Glove, I wouldn't say, but good enough to the point where I don't know. You can't really say whether he would have made the play or not because that's just all speculation. But right place, right time for Trey Mancini. Good for him. So
Just to get you up to speed, Bobby, we're talking about Dusty Baker
Oh,
finally
yes.
getting his World Series.
Yeah. I would-
Baseball's a favorite manager.
Exactly. And no matter, I'm sure you guys said this, but no matter if you're an Astros fan or not, you got to respect that. Like, Dusty Baker is what he's done for baseball, how long he's been in the game, what he's meant to the sport. And for him to finally get a World Series as a manager, it's awesome. And even all the interviews that you see and how good of a guy he just seems and how respected he is throughout baseball and even other sports. I think there was I forget who it was. I'm not even gonna bring it up, but I've seen so many interviews of other guys talking about him, different Dusty Baker stories. It's just unbelievable. So I'm really happy for him and Trey Mancini, obviously, like you just said, but it was good. No matter if you hate the Astros or not, I know we're all not huge fans of the Astros in the least bit, but very happy for those guys.
Yeah, and it was cool too to see a lot of his former players go to their social media and post like, "Hey, congratulations to Dusty." When I saw Barry Bonds, I was like, "Holy shit, this must really mean something." When
Yeah,
Barry Bonds goes out of his way to compliment somebody else, must
yeah,
really mean a lot.
exactly. You know, that was awesome. Um, anything else you guys want to touch on or that I missed? Did you talk about Jeremy Pena at all? Because I want to talk about him a little bit.
No,
Okay.
we
I
really
know.
didn't. We didn't touch on Pena.
Okay. I want to talk about how how the Houston Astros let Carlos Correa go. Arguably the best, if not one of the best shortstops in baseball. They said, you know what? You go get paid with the Twins, get your $35 million, whatever it was. We have a rookie, and we're going to trust in him. You know, that would be nice if other teams did that with their shortstops. But hey,
Oh no.
um, uh, we're talking about the Astros here. They trusted Jeremy Pena to lead this team at the shortstop position. He goes out, wins a Gold Glove in the regular season for the regular season, wins ALCS MVP, then wins World Series MVP as a rookie. That's unbelievable for a rookie like that to step up in a huge moments like that in the postseason. It's not like he's leading like a low market, small, crappy team in the postseason here. He's the starting shortstop for, like we said, arguably the best franchise in baseball. And he stepped up when they needed him to. And it's crazy to see a rookie do that. To step up in huge moments like that in the postseason. ALCS MVP, World Series MVP. It was remarkable to see that 25-year-old do that.
Man,
And
I
like you
don't.
said earlier, the fact that about all those 25-year-olds on the team, all of them stepping up. It's different because some of them have been there before, but like obviously Alvarez's home run really kind of was a final nail in the coffin for the Phillies. But all the guys, Kyle Tucker, I thought was going to win MVP after that first game.
Yeah.
And I mean, sure, he kind of cooled off after that, but still the fact that he stepped up there. Javier, you said he wasn't 25, but he's
No,
young still.
he is 25. Valdez isn't
Okay,
25.
he
That's what
is.
it is. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. So Christian Javier, 25,
He's
throws a
gross.
no-hitter in the innings he pitches. As the fourth pitcher in the rotation, he's not supposed to be. There's not high expectations there. We talked about that a little bit, but like, yeah, all their young guys coming together and contributing.
Yeah. And for those Yankee fans at home, I hate to do this. Me and Kyle, I'm gonna shut my ears when I say this, but when the Yankees got no hit by the Astros, Javier was the starter for that as well earlier in the season. So he's been a part of two combined Astros no hitters this season, or he was the starting pitcher for that, which is pretty crazy too. So screw that guy. But no, but seriously, he's unbelievable. But yeah, the
And I don't.
Astros.
And
No,
I don't
go.
even. Sorry. And I don't even think. I don't think Pena even got off to a good start from the season. I don't think he did. I could be completely
The
wrong on
actual
that.
regular
Yeah,
season.
the regular season.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't great. Like he's not even a finalist for Rookie of the Year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of Astros fans about, hey, where's Jeremy Pena? That's our guy right there. It's like, guys, he won the NLCS and the World Series MVP and hit a couple home runs. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
And a Gold Glove. I think he's fine.
The fact how so many people didn't realize that those are regular season awards is pathetic.
Yeah, Dodger fans, look, that was right for you. That was for you guys.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that in another episode. But
It's award
anything
season.
anything else for World Series that we want to touch on? I'm sure Matt's done talking about the World Series.
Proud of you guys.
Yeah,
Proud
There
of
you
the
go.
Phillies for making it this far.
good job.
We'll always remember this team. Some of you guys might be moving on. We already did not pick
Segura.
up Gene Segura's team option. Hopefully make space to bring in a guy who was playing on that field behind Melo this season. We'll see. Maybe. Or maybe the ex-Astro himself. There's been rumors about that too, so. But yeah, I appreciate round of applause for these guys. Nick Castellanos, I'm glad these games mean something, so you actually pay attention in these games and figure out how to catch a fly ball. I mean, that guy should have been a Gold Glover for the World Series if they gave those out because, wow. But yeah, I mean, I'm still happy with the outcome of the season, so yeah.
Exactly.
Good job, Phillies.
And one of the main takeaways I can take from this World Series and even from this whole postseason, when you get Bryce Harper past the division series, it is fun to watch. Having Bryce, you need Bryce Harper in the postseason every year because it is so much fun. And I really enjoyed it.
I can't wait till Philly builds him a statue.
Next to Rocky.
Well,
that's gonna happen.
As we figured out, it only takes one championship. The Eagles showed that.
Doug Peterson.
So, yeah, exactly. Doug Peterson, Nick Foles. I mean, they got their statue, and they're not even with the team anymore.
Big Dick Nick.
There you go. But yeah, that's enough about the World Series. Real quick, the two things that I wanted to touch on. Edwin Diaz, the Mets locked him up right away.
Oh,
5 years, $102 million. Initial thoughts, anyone?
I mean, it's an overpay. I mean, that's what people probably will say, but it's tough to pay a guy after one good year when Diaz has been spotty. Like he was great with the Mariners and then came to the Mets and he was Ed Lose Diaz for a season or two. And now he got a huge contract after a great season. So listen, I think, yeah, he had a great season. You got to reward the guy with that, but I don't know. I think this may age badly in a couple of years.
Yeah, it seems like it's very rare for closers or long-term contracts for relievers to actually work out. I mean, me and Kyle know specifically Aroldis Chapman.
Zach Britton, Chad Green.
Yeah,
keep
exactly.
it going.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
Well, he's in Miami or something,
Yeah,
avoiding
he's
the
pretty good
team.
on his couch at the moment.
But yeah, I
Anyway.
think the only reason that I don't think it's a huge deal is because I don't think it's going to affect the Mets payroll. Like it's not going to stop them to get anyone else. He's only 27, 28, something like that. So, I mean, yes, a 5-year deal for a closer doesn't see it's not a good there's not a good track record there for past contracts like that. But I don't think it's gonna kill the Mets. And he kind of did earn it from the 20 AAV. I think that's a record obviously for a reliever. Was it Liam Hendricks that got 18 million a year? Is that what it was? Yeah. So I guess they obviously wanted to break that, pay him more than what Liam Hendricks got annually, and then to add on the 5 years. I don't think it's gonna kill them in the fact of, oh, since we signed Diaz, we're not gonna be able to get this guy or this guy just because we know how Steve Cohen works. But I don't know. we'll see. We'll see what happens next year. But trumpets are here to stay.
Oh,
Till some guy walks him off in the ninth inning, and then. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a walk off. If they're hearing the trumpets. So
Right.
go ahead, home run. But either way,
Yeah. I don't know. Melo, Kyle, got anything about this contract?
My initial thought as a Yankee fan was, boy, are Mets fans in a roller coaster at the moment. But I feel like, as you said, Bobby, I mean, it's not going to affect the Mets. You have Steve Cohen as your owner. It doesn't matter. But I feel like we're getting into an age where these contracts for relievers are becoming like extinct almost. You look at a bullpen, and I mean, those guys are making like league minimum. At most, you're making 3-4 million. So, I definitely think it sets a very high standard for relievers. But am I against it? I mean, you kind of had to do it. He was looking for that kind of money. It's going to be like with the Yankees with Aaron Judge. If that's kind of contract you're going to have to pay him. So, I think the Mets did a good job of locking him down. I'm happy for the Mets that it's not more than 5 years. I would have been happy with like 3 or 4, but 5 years ain't too bad. But yeah, I mean, playing in New York, as Matt said, you give up that home run, you better watch, man. Fans are gonna be calling for you, especially with that amount of money you're making. But yeah, happy for both sides. I think it had to be done.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Melo.
don't really have much issues. I mean, it does seem like they had to lock him down because otherwise he would have taken the next big contract with another team. So good for the Mets, I guess. You guys hit it right on the nail. There's nothing much I can say.
Yeah, exactly. And then I guess the other, I guess kind of big story was the Angels GM came out and said after rumors, of course, about Shohei Ohtani being traded, came out and said that Ohtani will not be traded this offseason. He will be a free agent after the 2023 season. Probably a couple teams are going to be interested in him, I would say. And he's ready to get a huge payday. But the did they finish in last or did they finish in fourth? Fourth?
I'm
Ooh,
gonna say
Fourth,
four.
the fourth
yeah,
place
fourth.
There's
Angels.
no
the
way they were
A's.
worse
The
than the
A's
A's.
were.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot about them. But the fourth place Angels said that they're going to hold on to Shohei Ohtani at least this offseason, maybe. But I don't know. Of course, you don't want to get rid of this type of not even generational, like a lifetime talent. And how many butts he puts in the seats and the merchandise sales, all of this stuff. It's a very tough decision. Realistically, probably again, I don't know with numbers wise and stuff, but like to get him what they would get in the return for him, it's probably the smart option, but it's so hard to get rid of a guy like that. So I don't
I
know.
feel like you gotta be able to get a feel of the situation of if he's gonna resign there or not. Because if he's not, he's gonna be commanding a huge price from any team looking to trade for him. So you're literally stupid if you're not. If the Angels aren't in a position to compete next season at the trade deadline, it's kind of a no-brainer to try and trade him if you know he's not going to re-sign.
Right.
Obviously, I'm not in on the Angels, so I don't know if the general conception is that he's going to re-sign or not, because that's kind of what makes or breaks it for me, because you don't want to trade away a guy of that great talent.
Right.
You're going to be ruining the relationship there. So,
yeah. I don't know. Mello, what do you think? I know you made a video about it, but what are you thinking?
I mean, I think it's stupid if you're just gonna not do anything and just let him walk next year.
Right.
You gotta try it. You gotta. I mean, I understand you want to try and keep him. I mean, listen. What is the Angel GM supposed to say? Oh yeah, we're looking to shop for Shohei Ohtani. We'll take
Right.
all your offers. So it's kind of saying the right thing, but I there's not the Astros are better, the Rangers are better, and the Mariners are better. I don't care what the hell the Angels do this offseason. They're still not going to be they're not going to be as good, or they're not going to be good. So if they don't trade him this offseason, great, but the All-Star week in Seattle is going to be very fun because if the Angels get off to a bad start again, it's going to be just like Juan Soto when he came to LA for All-Star weekend this year. You could have a lot of questions around Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
I want out of here. You got 2 weeks to get rid of me.
And the longer you wait, the package is just going to get smaller as well.
Yeah.
So if they think they're going to trade him, or if, like you said, if they think they're not going to keep him, why waste time and value, I guess. You're wasting his value the longer you keep holding on to him. Kyle, anything about
I mean,
Shohei?
you guys.
What do you
Yeah,
want?
you guys.
You want the Yankees to
Uh,
trade for Shohei?
oh boy, way to hit me with that loaded question there. I mean,
I had to
of
ask you
course I
something
do.
different.
I mean, yeah, of course I do. I think anybody in their right mind would want him on their team, but no, as far as it goes with the Angels, I look at it as, as both you and Melo had said, like if you're not just gonna, it's kind of stupid not to just do anything with him. Just, I mean, if you don't trade him now, like you said, his value is going to go down. People are going to be giving up their top, at least two of their top five prospects to trade for him at the deadline. They're not going to want to do that, and then you're just going to end up having him walk at the end of the year without getting anything in return. They could get a very good package right here, right now, before the season starts, and it could set him up for the future, and at least try to get Mike Trout back in the playoffs. But on the other hand, if you do sign him to probably the largest contract in MLB history, if I would think, I don't know, but
Close to it. Yeah.
then you'll have close to $1 billion locked up in two players. And then what are you going to do? Because then it's going to be the same exact thing year after year. You're going to be putting minor league players at every other position except for, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, I mean, I hope for Shohei's sake that he gets traded or that he walks, whatever. But the Angels are just an absolute dumpster fire at the moment. So I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But Melo, I like what you said about how the GM, he's not going to come out and say, you know what, we're definitely going to trade Shohei this season. Because
Yeah.
then teams are going to be like, well, you're desperate to trade him, so we're not going to give you a crazy big package for him. So I guess he kind of had to say that, but I'm sure there's no way he doesn't take offers for him. But it's
Exactly. You kind of have to be like, I mean, anybody's able to be traded at any time for the right amount.
right.
Now, whether you say that or not, I don't know, because if you totally shut it off, teams probably aren't, not as many teams are going to be just straight up giving you a call about them. But if you're, hey, anybody's available for the right price, you're going to get teams keep calling you, say, well, that's not enough. You want them really bad. You're going to offer some more prospects, some more talent. You just keep saying no until the teams keep jacking up the price. And then once you get what you think it's worth, once you get what you think he's worth, then you pull the trigger.
Right. Yeah, I think a good GM like takes calls on anybody. I think you kind of have to. No matter if you're Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, like anyone, you have to take calls on guys like that. But I don't think they're
Yeah,
gonna trade him. I think they're gonna be stupid. Like
yeah,
at all.
I agree. Yeah, I think they're not gonna do anything. I think they're just. I want to be at Angel Stadium for his last home game. It's gonna be a beautiful farewell when he walks at the end of next off season. And we have to remember too, Mike Trout has not been healthy the last 2 or 3 seasons, and he's getting older. So we got to start thinking, ahead here. Okay, we have this Shohei Ohtani. I know he puts millions of Angel fans in the seats. I know he brings a lot of revenue, but let's see what we can get for him.
Yeah.
But let's entertain it. Let's start maybe answering those phone calls.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure out what happens. We'll see. But I think that's all Any final thoughts about anything?
Full time diving into football season, basketball season now, but
Yeah.
obviously it's great to have a normal off season in baseball. There's no
Yes.
pandemic to worry about, and there is no lockout to worry
Yeah.
about. So loving that. Looking forward to some big Phillies moves, hopefully. But
Yeah.
thank
well,
you for a good season, baseball.
Yeah. It was really cool. Like
Appreciate you.
I would say that this was the most locked in I was on entire Major League Baseball. And it was because of this podcast, everything we've done with Around the Diamond, like everything we've done, I think that like this was the most exciting as an actual general baseball fan I've been. So it was a great season. And I'm looking forward to the off season and things that we have for next year in a few months.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, we're still bringing out the podcast,
Yeah.
so got to look forward to fun content as well as some interviews I believe we got lined up too. So
Hey.
yeah,
Yep, exactly. All right, sounds good. Episode 50 in the books. Peace.
see ya.
Adios.